Let me tell you something that nobody in your life has had the courage to say to your face. Not your friends, not your family, not the people who smile at you every morning and tell you everything is going to be fine. They won't say it because they love you, or maybe because they're in the same boat. Misery loves company. But I'm going to say it because I believe you deserve the truth more than you deserve comfort. You are broke because of the decisions you have made. Not the economy, not your boss, not the neighborhood you grew up in, not the family that didn't hand you a trust fund. Your choices, your habits, your thinking. And until you can sit with that truth long enough to let it change you, you will still be broke 5 years from now, 10 years from now, telling the same stories, making the same excuses, wondering why life never seems to turn in your favor. Now, before you close this out, before you get defensive and tell yourself this doesn't apply to you, I want you to stay right here, because the people who get angry at this message are usually the ones who need it the most, and the people who accept it, who let it sink all the way down into their chest, those are the ones who wake up 5 years from now and cannot believe how different their life looks. So give me a few minutes. Let me tell you the brutal, unfiltered, real reason you are still broke. The first thing you need to understand is that broke is not just a financial condition. Broke is a mindset. It is a way of seeing the world. The broke mindset says, I'll start saving when I make more money. The broke mindset says, I deserve this treat. I work hard. The broke mindset says, rich people are just lucky, or connected, or corrupt. And as long as that is the conversation happening inside your head, your bank account is simply reflecting your beliefs back at you like a mirror. Jim Rohn used to say that if you took all the money in the world and distributed it equally among every person on earth, within 5 years it would all flow back to the same people. And when I was young and struggling, I thought that was cruel. Now, I understand it is one of the most profound observations ever made about human behavior, because wealth is not about money. Wealth is about the person you become. And most people are focused on the wrong thing entirely. You want to change your finances, change your philosophy first. Change the way you think about money, about time, about effort, about value. Because here's what the broke person does. They trade time for money, and then they spend that money trying to feel better about trading their time for money. They work all week. They're exhausted by Friday. And so they spend the weekend spending what they earned to recover from the process of earning it. And then Monday comes and the cycle starts again. They call this living. But it is not living. It is surviving with a slightly better Netflix subscription. Here's another brutal truth. You are spending money you haven't earned yet to buy things you don't need to impress people you don't even like. That sentence should hit, because look around at most people's financial lives, and that is exactly what you will find. The car that looks impressive in the driveway but costs more per month than some people's rent. The clothes that signal success while the savings account whispers failure. The dinners out, the vacations on credit, the constant low hum of consumer debt that follows you everywhere like a shadow. You've stopped noticing. You've normalized it. That is the dangerous part. You've made peace with financial chaos and started calling it your lifestyle. And I understand it. I do. Because we live in a world that is designed to make you spend. Every advertisement you see is a precision-engineered psychological operation designed to make you feel incomplete without a product. Every social media feed is a highlight reel of consumption. Everyone is performing wealth while accumulating debt, and the performance is so convincing that you started performing too. But performance doesn't build wealth. Patience builds wealth. Discipline builds wealth. The boring, unglamorous, completely un-Instagrammable act of spending less than you earn and investing the difference, done consistently over years, that builds wealth. But here is the part that stings even more. It is not just what you are spending, it is what you are not doing. Jim Rohn said that we must all suffer one of two things, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And regret is so much heavier, it weighs more, it lasts longer. The pain of discipline is temporary. You skip the expensive dinner, it hurts for a moment. You wake up early to work on your skill, it is uncomfortable for an hour, but the pain of regret, looking back at years of wasted potential and wondering what could have been, that pain doesn't go away, and most people are walking around carrying decades of it. What are you not doing? Are you not learning a skill that would make you more valuable in the marketplace? Because here is something they never teach you in school. Your income is a direct reflection of the value you provide to the marketplace. Not your effort, not your hours, not how hard you work or how tired you are at the end of the day. Value, the market doesn't pay you for your sacrifice. It pays you for the results you produce. So if your income is low, the question you need to ask is not, how do I find a better job, but how do I become a more valuable person? How do I learn more? How do I develop skills that are rare and in demand? How do I solve bigger problems for more people at a higher level? That is the question that changes your economic life. And are you reading? This sounds almost laughably simple, but I promise you, it is not. The average CEO reads over 50 books a year. The average person reads fewer than one. And I know what you're going to say. I don't have time. But you have time for your phone. You have time for television. You have time for 4 hours of scrolling through content that someone else created to build someone else's dream. You have the time, you just have not yet decided that your growth matters more than your entertainment. And that decision right there is the difference between the life you have and life you say you want. Let's talk about your circle, because this matters more than people realize. Show me your 5 closest friends, and I will show you your financial future. Not because people are bad influences on purpose, but because we become the average of the people we spend the most time with. Their habits become our habits. Their ceilings become our ceilings. Their beliefs about what is possible become our beliefs about what is possible. And if everyone in your circle is broke and comfortable with it, you will struggle to outgrow that comfort zone, because growth requires you to be different. And being different from the people around you is one of the hardest things a human being can do. Rohn put it plainly, you must be willing to set yourself apart, to think differently, to be misunderstood, to be called selfish or arrogant, simply for choosing to want more from your life. Now someone is going to hear this and say, but Jim, but Claude, but whoever, the system is unfair. And you know what? They're right. The system is not perfectly fair. Opportunities are not equally distributed. Some people start on third base. That is true. And you can spend your life being angry about that, which is a completely understandable response. Or you can decide that the hand you were dealt is the starting point, not the ending point, and begin playing the game from where you are with what you have. Because here's what I know about people who built their way out of nothing. They did not wait for fairness. They did not wait for permission. They did not wait until conditions were perfect or the timing was right or the economy cooperated. They moved in spite of the unfairness, in spite of the headwinds, in spite of the doubt and the discouragement and the people who said it couldn't be done. The most expensive thing in your life is not your rent or your car payment or your debt. The most expensive thing in your life is the person you haven't become yet. The skills you haven't developed, the books you haven't read, the discipline you haven't built, the action you haven't taken. That is where the real cost lives. And every day that passes without you investing in yourself, the bill gets larger. So here is where you stand. You have a choice right now, not tomorrow, not after the new year, not when things settle down, because things never settle down. Right now, you can close this out and go back to what you were doing, and 5 years from now you will be having this same conversation with yourself, maybe with slightly different details. Or you can decide that this is the moment, not because conditions are perfect, not because you have it all figured out, but because you are finally willing to tell yourself the truth. You are broke because of the story you have been living, and you have the ability starting today to begin writing a different one. The world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be honest. Honest with yourself about where you are, how you got here, and what it is going to take to get somewhere better. That honesty, that raw, uncomfortable, no excuses clarity is the beginning of everything. It is the seed. And if you plant it, water it with discipline, feed it with knowledge, protect it with the right environment and the right people, what grows from it will be something you cannot yet fully imagine. But only if you start today, right now, with the truth